Saxo is super good player. We kinda not much practice have with him, but we just enjoy tournament and just we'll see what's gonna happen. Maybe we can win. Who knows?
Maybe. Ramsey, thank you very much for this performance. Congratulations on your top 4 finish. Well done, and we'll send it back to the panels.
Thank you very much, Nomad and Ramses. And yes, for Ramses and for Pure and for Whitemon, this is the first time they got as far as they did here today at the International. Sax and Thompson obviously have taken the championship in the past, Thompson twice. We'll see how far they can come this time around, but 4th guaranteed here already is quite the milestone, and they get the chance to do the same thing that they did to Falcons again. But I'm getting way ahead of myself. I want to break this game down the cost because we thought maybe there was a chance for Extreme to push this to a 3rd game. It did not happen.
It really did, and every single team fight pretty much went the same way, where they're using Wukong's command. Ahmed's damage, 47,000 damage in this game. It was pretty much insane. They lacked a little bit more, because they're playing around Pure. Pure did die only 1 time in this game, surviving so many times on like 200 HP. He gets the true form off. I love Tundra's teamfight execution. They understand how to fight against each other, how to reset multiple times, which we've seen that it needs to be done against some of these big teamfight ultis. And this Disperser again, coming out from Pure, he knows what's up. Gives you speed, gives everybody speed, they run away. Couple of 4 staffs, beautiful stuff.
Beautiful stuff. We saw Extreme trying to make the plays, trying to make the moves. At the end of the day, for them, it was not enough. Before we continue breaking down the game and the series, we're first going to hear some words from Xingqiu with Period.
Yeah, thanks, Sheebs. I am here with Xingqiu. Thank you for taking the time to talk to us. Just quickly, what went wrong in that series for your team?
我们都很支持你，很遗憾离开了比赛。想问一下，那个上一场大概出了什么问题呢？
就是我自己有几波比较太深入的那种进攻吧，然后导致我们的中继球出了一些问题。
There were several times when I went way too deep and way too offensive, and it went wrong.
Okay, well, another question is to say, would you say that the top 6 finish that you got at this TI met your expectations ahead of the tournament?
虽然很不如意，但是前6这个成绩在你们预期之中吗？
算在吧。
Sure, considerably.
Okay, nice. And obviously, I think this team has showed a huge amount of promise. What are your guys' plans for next season?
其实你们队伍都很有潜力的，就下一个赛季有没有什么展望可以跟我们分享一下呢？
希望成绩会更好吧。
We hope for better results.
Fair enough and fantastic. I know there are a lot of XG fans here in the arena. Is there anything that you'd like to say to them?
现场有很多你们 XG 的粉丝，也有很多你的粉丝，有没有什么想跟他们说的？
就非常感谢大家大老远过来看比赛吧，然后也很热情。
Thank you all for coming from all over the world, and you guys are super passionate.
Well, I think we all agree with that statement, so thank you, Xingqiu. Can we give a big round of applause for Xingqiu and Extreme Gaming?
Yeah, thank you very much. It is always brutal to see that side of the competition as well, but someone has to fall for another team to advance, and that is what happened here. And this second game that we just watched of the series, I think T-Gov, it did showcase how strong Extreme can be, because we did see some great fights and movements by them.
No, yeah, we did, 100%. They looked good in some moments, specifically the game 2. I think that was, what we wanted to see from them. But can't really blame Extreme too much. I think this game, or series win, is all on Tundra. The fact that they looked at Lone Druid, Game Gladiators, the only other team to play Lone Druid in the tournament so far 2 times, one in the group stage, one at the International. And then, out of nowhere, you know what, Pure, you want to play Lone Druid? He's also only played 12, this is actually his 13th pro Lone Druid game. He had a 41% win rate on the hero. He was atrocious compared to all his other heroes. Like, Lone Druid is just not his thing based on the stats. He comes in today though, and he just slaughters them. He just sends them home. It's like, this game is on. He's top net worth the entire time. Like, it was a spectacular showing for sure on the Lone Druid, and you can't really prep for it. They've not played it, they've not practiced it, and suddenly it's just hit.
Yeah, they were completely unprepared for that, and it showed. We didn't see the level of confidence that we've been seeing for the last 2 series that XG played. None of their, signature muertas coming out, their own takes through the safe lane. We did see Faces Void, but it also felt quite reactive instead of them coming into it with an idea. But, I mean, Tundra, they just came to play. They were a completely different level than we saw them yesterday. Every single one on this team did an incredible job, and it wasn't just Pure on that lone druid. From the mid lane, from both supports, from Ramses on that Sand King. You heard him in the interview. He said, I think Pure plays best. I think Sand King was one of the biggest reasons why they won that game. Ramses on that Sand King was so dependable. He did the most hero damage in his game, and once that net worth started to equalize for XG and Tundra, he just, farmed up, got a blink pick off on the Monkey King. He went through the gate that Underlord placed for Monkey King, getting more triangle kills with his team, and he really set the tempo for them.
All eyes on Rubik in every single fight. They're like, Thompson, he's gonna steal the big spells, which he did throughout the whole game, stealing the Firestorm, the Pit of Malice, everything from Shakiro. He got to the Aghanim Scepter, so he's gonna steal 2 of those. And then Saksa, he has a pretty free entry to a fight. Nobody's touched his hero. In a lot of these post-fight recaps, you see that he dealt the most damage in these later fights.
It felt like this draft from Tundra had the elements of bounce to some degree, where if you finally get through the tanky frontline core, that's Lone Druid, then you have to deal with another big core, whilst the supports are pulling out artillery. And I say supports, Rubik's net worth did fall behind the Enchantress, and he basically was playing like a greedy 4 rather than like a mid lane, but it didn't really matter in this game because there was such a formidable double front line to get through that you can just pump out the damage and you don't really need to scale too crazily. Just have the levels and you're going to be fine. So Enchi's insanely strong. Lone Druid as well for the future of this bracket. If Gaming or Tundra in a series, Lone Druid's going to have to be considered.
And like we saw in that highlight just now, Enchantress was a machine gun later in the game. The beauty of Enchantress in this patch is that she gives you pure damage to her impetus, and she was melting the Underlord on XXS like he was nothing. And that happened fight after fight after fight, and the scaling from the support in Enchantress made it so that Tundra were never really on the timer that you would be worried about seeing a Lone Druid carry. It didn't matter because if you have a scaling support like Ench, it doesn't, once damage mitigation is built for the Lone Druid, you've got another backup plan.
Yeah, and the building damage for the Lone Druid, you cannot deny how fast he could push that up. Ame tried to mimic it, but didn't do it. But that was not this game either.
Yeah, and that #1 stat from Pure that he got this game, is the second in all-time TI history. So of all the TIs, he's building the most.
I will say, the amount of times that I saw Pure survive, even if his bear died, I mean, because this hero, it's turning into the, obviously he was the hero of the series, but...
Hero of the tournament. We started with, some Maranas looking very hot, paired up with some Clockworks, with some Shield Protectors, and then we had Luna, but now Lone Druid. Out of a sudden, this hero is so strong. It gives you strong laning stage, it gives you the tower damage that we've seen. You can easily take the barracks, you can easily take the buildings. All you need to do is take one good fight near the enemy base.
I'd like to add another hero to Hero of the Tournament, because potentially Sniper belongs in that list. Let's find out from Perch.
Thanks, Cheever. Yeah, Sniper was a big hero in this tournament so far, and especially in this series. In the first game, it had a lot of nice advantages. Here's the big thing. It's that extra attack range. You're attacking from 700 units away, which is much more than you used to. You used to have to actually skill an ability to get that. So what ends up happening when you're laning against a 525 range hero is you just have this constant range advantage. And if you just play in that range advantage over your opponent, for example, this is about where SF attack range is, this is about snipers. If he just plays in this zone in here, he gets to constantly harass his opponent with almost no repercussions at all. Free damage, better attempts at last hitting, and more. So that translates. SF gets outlaned, he goes to jungle. Look at this. He's attacking a tower with basically no items for free. There's just not a hero there. So this is just an extra advantage that Sniper has now in this patch that he didn't have before. This is part of the reason that he's trending so effectively. And then that range advantage even translates for his ultimate. He doesn't even have to really be that close to Shadow Fiend, and he can just pop a little ultimate in there to get a bunch of damage on top. So this is something that the best teams have been doing consistently. they outlane their opponents with a lane matchup, and then their support starts playing near them, basically make it even worse for their opponents. Their opponents are getting even more bullied by a support rotating over. This is really highly skilled by Soxa. So this range advantage just translates. You don't even have to be close to your opponents, and you're scoring extra gold. You're stealing the souls out of Shadow Fiend, basically. So the goal then is to jump on top of the sniper and kill him, limit his net worth advantage. But if your teammates back you up, that doesn't even happen either. So Thompson's sniper very much about staying alive, staying away from his opponents, and never dying. He succeeded that big time in Game 1. Game 2, they had advantage. It was just too much, and it's not going to be the last time. It's going to be a lot of sniper bans as the tournament continues.
Thank you very much, Purge. Yeah, I would imagine that potentially after the international, we might see a little bit of a nerf on the sniper. I know that in the separate game, Vinik already got a little bit of nerf. So that's already sorted. One sniper down, one sniper to go. As I think, to be fair, our next series, getting slightly ahead of myself here, is again, it just so happens, guys, because there's so much Dota to look forward to. Sniper is going to play a big role, T, but I think maybe Lone Druid will play an even bigger role.
I think anything that provides speed and aggression will be at the forefront of both these coaches, both these captains' minds. Because Liquid Gaming are the quickest teams at TI. They're both teams in the upper bracket. They're always the top three. And yeah, I kind of want to see both here.
Let's take a quick look at the bracket first, because we are pausing the lower bracket for a little while, as we had two series. We saw Cloud9 and Extreme Gaming moving forward. Falcons and Tundra will play again later today, Andy.
Yeah, I mean, Falcons and Tundra, just European dominance cements itself throughout this TI. It may be a little bit sad for those who want to see more regional representation, but ultimately, this has been the best region for a while, and it's why we see these teams. I'm just excited. I don't know what's gonna happen. I'm waiting for that Liquid Gaming series. I need to know if Liquid have conquered their demons, because that's gonna change the script entirely, Chiefs.
It will change the script entirely if they did exactly that. We're going to find out that upper bracket finals is coming your way. So make sure you get a comfortable seat for that. Make sure you get some snacks for that, some drinks for that. It should be good, especially if Liquid conquered their demons. Before we head into that series, though, we're going to find out how Gaming Gladiators felt before coming to this main stage.
Best moment of TI so far? Just making it to the arena. Feels really good. We all have family and friends coming over as well, so it felt really good to qualify. It was not easy. It's been a somewhat of a rocky tournament so far. You know, fixing problems and trying to improve over the course of it, but making stage is always a privilege and something that you definitely can take for granted if you're not careful. So I try not to appreciate whenever you get the chance, because it's pretty special. Playing in front of a crowd is what I enjoy the most. I've played quite a few tournaments now over the last few years, and it's like nothing compares to it. It's the most fun you can have. It's also the most stressful in the moment, because you know, okay, all eyes are on you. If you make a mistake, everyone will see it. That's also, it gets a lot of energy, and it's really fun. Win or lose, it just makes it a lot more special.
The worst moment of the tournament, probably just the intermittent playing poorly. Playing poorly always sucks, losing sucks. So a combination of those two things tends to be the most annoying. Specific moment from the losing or sucking, I'm not exactly sure, but there's been, we've had our fair share of it this tournament so far, so just trying to reduce the quantity of that.
There were a lot of hard moments, to be honest. It was, well, every team faces a different challenge, and we didn't figure out the meta yet. We came really close to dropping to the lower bracket twice. So these moments are challenging for you mentally, because you know, like we were there last year, and we know like we can do it. We can make it to the finals. For the lower brackets, we can go really far, but it's very, very draining. So we really didn't want to go there. And when you get that close, it definitely taxes you in that moment. So I'm very happy we pulled through.
How do we react when things go wrong? I mean, I think it depends whether it's in game or out of game. If it's, you know, if we're in a series and something goes wrong in a game, then you just move on. You know, you work with it, right? Like things go wrong in games. That's inevitable. Nobody ever plays a perfect game of Dota. And so Dota is like a lot about moving on from mistakes and learning how to adapt and adjust and play the game differently as it changes and as you're ahead or behind or whatever, as the strength levels deviate. So That is like one of the biggest skills in Dota, is getting good at adapting to that. So if you're in game, and it's just about making sure people don't feel too bad if they made some mistakes, and you play on and you work with what you got, because at the end of the day you're trying to win the tournament and you're always working towards that.
Also just keep trusting each other. You cannot try to micromanage. I've done that myself in the past, and like that doesn't work. It's a team game. Everyone has to do their own part.
This TI is actually relatively balanced, and then I think a lot of teams can win more than I think normally can, just off of field. So I think a lot of it just comes down to how people show up on the day of, how things develop as the tournament progresses. Because I think over the next couple of series, it'll become more clear who the front runners are. But I think right now, after that first day on the stage, things could go a lot of different ways. So it's a bit hard to call right now.
I think we have a good shot at winning because we are pretty fearless, I think. That's how people know our carry player, Derecho, and it definitely makes all of us play without fear. And you cannot be afraid to do your thing, and I hope it's good enough.
Can we win TI? Yeah, for sure. I sure hope so. Will we? Who knows? I think making top 3 is something that you always shoot for and is always sort of like the base goal. And then what happens on that final day, you never really know. Depends who wakes up, depends on how people play that day, how things shake up. There's not a lot of randomness, but there's some randomness the last day. So at the end of the day, I think we just want to play as well as we can, and hopefully the dice fall in our favor.
Quinn talking about how getting to the top 3 is the baseline for them. Well, they've already secured that for themselves, but right now, this best of 3 happening in the upper bracket will decide our very first grand finalist. Before we get into it, though, welcome to the afternoon. We've got to welcome our afternoon panel as well. Here I got Fia, a little bit color coordinated with me, sitting right next to me, and then Winter and Jenkins all the way down there as well. Fia, how has your morning been? Have you enjoyed the 2-0s so far, or are you hoping for game number 3?
I'm hoping for game number 3. We've only had 2-0s so far, but...
Including yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, the whole TI so far, the playoff stage, there's only been 2-0s, so hopefully this is the one I'm looking at to be that competitive series. We've got 2 teams that play somewhat similar play styles going into this one. We'll see which one of them is playing this one a bit better.
Yeah, well, those tours that you're talking about, we've already decided what's going to be happening in that lower bracket later today, but right now, we have to do our winner bracket final. We did see Liquid take that 2-0 yesterday against Cloud9. Gaming Gladiators also a 2-0 for themselves against Tundra. Now they'll be going up against each other. It's one of those ones we've seen them face off many times before, Liquid up against Gaming, but right now, Jenkins, it feels like 2 very different teams. It's a whole new patch and a whole different set of mentality around these 2 as well.
Yeah, I would like to just let's let the cat out of the bag here. We have seen this matchup time and time again, and we've been theory crafting, why this time it might go differently. And I have some theories. I have a theory that I would like to run by you guys. Yeah, maybe we can all present our theory for Team Liquid, because of course a lot of the time we've seen this, it's gone the way of Gaming Gladiators. My theory is that 33 got he's level 24 at about 30 minutes on Sand King yesterday. He absolutely looks like he fits into Team Liquid, and he has for the last few tournaments, but it just looks better and better as the year has progressed. People were questioning, replacing Zai eventually with 33 and how that's going to work, because of course Zai is very sacrificial. 33, he farms a lot. Can he actually fit into Liquid? He's proven it. He can. This is a different Liquid. I think this is going to be a competitive series, not the typical 2-0 from Gaming Gladiators that we're used to seeing.
Yeah, I would say, they've actually maybe found a balanced Winter of you can have that farming off lane, and now you can have an active carry, something that BIDV loves to do, and they're able to work a little bit more about that one. But do you think it's going to be a 2-0 just a quick word?
Oh, definitely not. I think this is going to be a very close series. Just by meta, I think Liquid has by far been in their best form over the course of the last couple of months, and I feel like their major advantage right now is I think the meta really favors their play style.
Yeah. Well, look, we're talking about these teams. Well, let's bring them out here onto stage. Our very first team coming out, Team Liquid. winner favorites. It doesn't matter what region the tournament is in, what fans are in the crowd, you're bound to hear the biggest cheers for Team Liquid. Is that going to be enough to be able to give them the fuel, give them the power to be able to take on their opponents, who should also welcome to the stage? Able to prove themselves in the past, and maybe for the first time, Jenkins, it feels like Liquid have a rival on how loud the crowd can get for them, because there are a lot of big cheers for Gaming just then too.
Yeah, I mean, Gaming does, you know, they're the, they've got the countrymen, they've got 2 Danes on their team. We've got a lot of representation here, actually, between these 2 teams. Quinn, one of the last North Americans standing, carrying the region. There's a lot of North Americans in the crowd as well. Yeah, huge cheers for North America. Huge cheers out there.
I actually don't think anyone reacted to that at all. There's one man out there who's cheering.
Shout out to that one guy.
That one guy that's out there. But these teams are taking the booth here, and we're going to have a talk about it because they both came into this upper bracket finals in duo fashion. Was the one that maybe looked a little bit stronger than the other here? Would you be able to compare them coming into this?
It's a little hard to compare, but I will say both eyes are on Liquid right now and how dominant they've looked. For Gaming Gladiators, I feel like they're just doing time and time again with the way they play right now, but I feel like Liquid is just really crisp right now. Like, they're playing at a level that I feel like I haven't seen them play before. They're playing similar, but they're making far less mistakes than I've seen in the past.
And then what about on the side of Gaming Gladiators, Winter, because they're a snowball team and they're successful with it. It feels like there's never been a team able to stop them in their tracks once they do come out of that laning phase.
Yeah, and they've also been showing a lot of like adaptations, you know, and not many people would expect them to play Lone Druid, and they played Lone Druid yesterday. And these are teams that have been dominating over the last couple of years, but they've also been constantly making improvements in terms of their drafting, their hero pool. Everything has been getting better and better, and it's something very difficult to do when you are at the top of the game.
Right, and it's because that was a Duraccio Lone Druid, not an Ace Lone Druid, is what surprised us there, and that does give them the flex, and that gives them a draft advantage as well.
There's a lot more heroes that they're picking up for themselves. It's nice to see that there is always an evolution throughout a tournament. There's been times in the past where it feels like over and over again we see these same openers, but that hasn't been figured out just yet. There's still a lot going on. But I want to talk about the history of the teams a little bit more. You know, we can delve on that hero stuff when we do finally see our draft, but right now, the history between Liquid and Gaming Gladiators, it isn't so much just this year or this competitive season here, but also spanning back to the duration of the 2023 competitive scene for them.
Yeah, I mean, between the 2 squads, there's only been one change. That was 33 coming in for Zai, and like that was like, sure, it was a big change. They had to adjust a lot outside of Liquid for that, but outside of that, yeah, we've got the top 6 heroes here. Previous match counters, we have a lot of Chen, Sven, not so meta anymore, but this is a team they might pick up a little bit.
It's only slightly favored Gaming Gladiators to this past year. It feels like, though, when I think about it, Jenkins, it's significantly more dominant than that.
Yeah, I mean, there's 2 parts to that. Of course, there's the recency bias of Riyadh Masters was the big tournament before this one that Gaming won, and I also think the second part to that is the fashion in which Gaming wins their games. Historically speaking, against any team of any caliber, not just Liquid, when Gaming wins, it looks like an utter stomp. You know, people complain about the patch and the meta being boring, but it's just because Gaming is so good at taking a lead and getting every single little bit of advantage out of the map. They just seem to know that if you have an Ancient stack and that's your only way back into the game at the time that you're going to farm it, they are there. They're going to smoke to it. They don't need a ward. They just have that read.
Yeah, that's actually a really, really good point. I've been like doing a little bit of studying about the differences between the 2 teams. They have a lot of things in common, but one thing they do have that's really different is their position 4. I feel like Boxy doesn't take as much farm as Tofu in their recent games because their off-laner is a lot greedier. You know, he likes to stack a lot, like 33. He's been really good at doing the stacks, like getting ahead, playing as a secondary carry, and that kind of needs the position for to kind of run around the map and get something done for the team. And sometimes if you don't get it done, it might hurt you a lot, compared to what gaming does. I think that is a very, very key point in this particular matchup, the ancient stacks. Who is going to be able to defend or steal the opposing ancient stacks?
A small refresher for all of you out there over the last 2 seasons. These are the matchup results. We've broken it down for you as well. So the group stages, the playoffs, and the grand finals here, Pia. And I mean, the biggest one, the grand finals.
Yeah, I mean, luckily this is a playoff match, right? And so far, Liquid, this is the only time in which they best Gaming Gladiators. So in group stages, they don't do so well. The interesting way about the group stages, dude, why is there no draws in there? This team doesn't draw. It's either 2-0 or 0-2 either way. And same thing for the grand finals, 0-5 for Liquid, but we're not there yet. And I think that's a good thing for Liquid right now. They want to get there. Maybe someone in the lower bracket can knock out Gaming Gladiators for them. That's going to be their wish and dream there. But right now, so far in the playoffs, Liquid, there's this whole narrative, oh, their game and they're going to lose. They're beating them in playoff matches throughout the last 2 years.
Yeah, that's definitely the second part of the bias, is everybody always remembers the grand finals. I mean, the same thing happens every TI. People remember the top 1, the top 2, and it's like, who got third at the last TI? You ask somebody that question, and it's all about the winners here.
Well, that's the thing. Everyone's like, no one remembers second place, but unironically, these past 2 years is the one time you really remember.
We do remember. It's been the same guys.
Yeah, there might be a little bit of a burn if you're a Liquid fan, or a little bit of a chuckle if you are a gaming fan. But right now, these common heroes that they share, also individual ones. That IO is the biggest one that stands out for me in Gaming Gladiators. Hasn't always brought that success for themselves. And on the other side, the supports for Liquid, that Dark Willow and that Treant protected too. So they're going outside of the box of supports that every other team here is also really enjoyed as well.
Yeah, the supports are definitely going to play a very pivotal role. Both sides have a very different hero pool, but you might see again, some Enchantress, Chen, jungle heroes, the Igma. It's all about the efficiency. You're getting towards your aura items where your cores don't really want to buy, but it's still a good item. It's just that your cores have better items to get, and if you can combine all those timings together, it just makes the game really, really quick. And if you make one mistake, just one mistake against an aura lineup, you're going to lose the map.
I do remember yesterday in Gaming Gladiators matchup against Tundra, we were lucky enough to talk to Moon, and he said one of their strats coming up against Gaming was ban out as many summons as possible. Sure, it didn't work for them. Is that something that Liquid might also look at? Is there a whole different direction that you even have to go in, Feel?
I mean, these two teams are very intelligent. They spend a lot of time thinking about the game, and they have mock draft against each other. You can't ban out all their heroes. It's literally impossible. You also can't steal all their heroes and make sure they don't have the strategy. You just have to know how to play against it, and ideally, you can just match the tempo. There's just a couple teams in Dota right now, and they're all at the top of the international right now that you can't be greedy against. And here we are in the bracket finals. Neither of these teams play greedy, so it's going to be all about speed. I'm expecting whoever wins these games, they're going to be close games, and they're going to not be close. Sorry, they're going to be fast games, one way or the other. Because once you get a snowball, it's really hard to throw that away, especially when you're this good.
I think lots of fighting as well. We saw Tundra. They tried to run 4 heroes at Nikkei's lane, and Liquid responded with running 4 heroes at that lane as well.
Yeah.
I think that's the patch of Dota, because you win one fight, you get so much gold, you get an extra aura item, and then the next fight gets a lot easier. Liquid is a team, especially, that is picking a tower pusher in every single game that they play. They always have a tower pusher when they're building these auras, and Gaimin, I mean, that's been their MO since they have come into existence. So whichever team starts winning the fights is going to snowball the game, and I'm hoping we see some throws just for the entertainment value. Maybe in game 2 we'll get a 60-minute game like we've seen yesterday.
You always keep asking for that, and that's the complete opposite of what Fia
Well,
saying.
we got unlucky, but they got lucky.
I mean, this is just how it goes.
The
These teams are so good that once they win 2 fights in a row, they're just up one item, they're up 2 items, and at that point the skill level is so similar that that difference in net worth is just ends the game typically.
But I want to see some chokes.
Yeah.
I want to see some throws. I want to see Nisha.
You want the pendulum swinging back and forth.
Yeah, I want the pendulum
swinging.
And it can't swing, via somebody like Nisha doing the godlike play that he did on Puck yesterday, where he just outplays. 1v4 or whatever and gets 3 kills when he's not supposed to, it can swing that way too. All I want is a swinging Pendulum. That's all I care about.
This is upper bracket finals, not lower bracket round 1.
Yeah.
I don't care. Give me some chaotic Dota. That's what I want.
10 heroes in the Wisdom Runes.
Let's go. 10 heroes, Wisdom Runes, 7 minutes.
I knew it would always come back to this with you. But Winter, we're talking about, you know, one team fight. That's the start to get the ball rolling for them. A second one, that might just be the nail in the coffin. So when you look at draft, do you have to focus very heavily on lanes? Do you have to try and out team fight when it looks towards the draft? Where is that importance that needs to be looked towards the two teams?
I don't think you can really focus too much on one end. It's all about, again, you know, having a balance. Like maybe we see like BBT sometimes, you know, they've already been knocked out. They have a style which really focuses on lanes. It didn't really work out so well. So all these teams that are remaining right now, they have everything. I wouldn't say that one team is going to be really, really good on lanes. Maybe you can put a slight advantage after you look at the draft. Okay, they have a better lane setup. But overall, I think if you want to win now, you need to have everything. You need to have a balanced draft, good lanes, you have some team fight, you have some late game, and it gives you options, right? Even though most of the times this games between Liquid and Gladiators, they don't go really long, but a lot of the drafts have a bit of everything. You kind of have to be able to have decent lanes, and you have to be able to fight.
I have one theory with regards to how...
Do love your theories.
How one of these teams can work out an advantage. And between these team fights, like let's say you take a fight, it goes 50-50. How do you get some extra gold out of that? How do you turn that into an extra aura item that they're not going to have in the next fight? And some of the heroes that can do that are Doombringer, because he literally just creates gold, and Visage, which has been a pretty contested pick for 33. A lot of teams are banning this out. So I could see that being a strategy for Liquid, is just 5-manning to the 5-man of Game In, but then having these heroes that get more gold out of it, even if the fights go 50-50.
When you're talking about the Visage getting more gold, you mean the
facet.
Yes. If you would like to explain for people who might not be up on par with their Visage knowledge.
So the Visage facet basically gives you gold within 3 seconds if you soul assumption somebody, but it's the most generous interpretation of the facet. If the soul assumption is flying through the air to hit somebody and they die to anything else, you get the gold. So you show up the fights, it's just a Midas. You're legitimately Midasing heroes. I thought it was going to be very overpowered coming into this tournament. It only seems like it's Team Liquid that agrees with that, but they have 33. This guy's the best Visage in the world.
Jenkins, you're missing one hero. That's Alchemist.
Okay.
He also makes gold out of nothing.
Yeah, pitch me the Alchemist. Which team?
And Bounty.
No. Let's not talk about that.
We gotta stay on track. We gotta look things
I thought we were nitpicking here.
No. So you think Alchemist for Game In Gladiators then?
Yeah, I think it's a hero that really suits Dorato's playstyle. We seen him like yesterday. I feel like the hero fits the way they want to play the game. He's very, very useful in the early game fight. He has a time where he's weak, where he needs to farm the Radiance, but even yesterday when he didn't really get the Radiance, when they're defending the middle tower, I still see him showing up to defend the tower. It's not like a hero that, oh, without Radiance, I'm not going to be on the map, you know, I'm going to be just hitting creeps, you know.
Yeah, he's willing to show up, and luckily Alchemist has a stun, so Doraccio can actually contribute to the fights, because whether he has a stun or not, he's showing up for the fights.
Yeah, that's true. Even before this patch, let's talk about that's just something Doraccio loves to do. He loves to show up to fights whenever he possibly can. Jenkins, I know you're holding out for a 5v5 at a 7-minute Wisdom. Any other wishes that the rest of my panelists would like for this series?
Gate gank, 10 heroes, you know, it's about 6 minutes. Catapult wave comes and there's like everyone's going, Mickey and Insania going through the gate.
They do double gate all the time. Yeah.
And Fear, any wishes from you?
I just want to see the cheesiest Dota possible. Auras galore, 5-manning, every tower.
Look, that one might actually be possible, and I won't keep you waiting too much longer, especially those out in the crowd, as we do have our game #1 draft.
Team Liquid versus Game In Gladiators. Game 1.
Our upper bracket finals here. Liquid against Game In Gladiators. Game at #1. Draft coming up onto our screens. We're going to see the first phase bans as well as that Doom opener. Exactly what you talked about, Jenkins, that you're able to pull gold out of nowhere on this map.
I think whenever you have two teams that are so close in skill and so close in playstyle currently, that this does make a lot of sense. I mean, it's a 33 classic hero. The hero does not have a good win rate by any means. 36.4% on Radiant, 43.8 on Dire, of course, because he's a devil. That makes a lot of sense. But not a good win rate. I would imagine Liquid's win rate with it is quite a bit higher, because this is another one of those specialty heroes that no matter what the patch is, 33 will play Doom.
I mean, the issue with this hero, I think we've briefly talked about in previous panels, is the games that he has looked not so good are the games where he's been picked early and he got countered, but they don't really have the suitable position for a hero that can enable Doom in the lane. And some of the games that when we see Doom doing well, he was picked into a game later and he was picked with a purpose, like for example dooming a Kunkka in a team fight. He has a very, very direct contribution in the team fights which allows them to win the engagements.
Sure. Yeah, that makes sense. And I think, I mean, we've talked about this a lot on the panel, trying to figure this hero out. And Liquid does really like playing Dark Willow, and Dark Willow is one of the best heroes at getting you through the first 1 to 3 levels of the laning stage. This is where Doom suffers. This is why I think the win rate is so low. People crush it in the laning phase.
I can just hear the crowd, by the way, one chanting for Liquid, the other one going for Game.
I'm on the Liquid side, so all I hear is the Liquid.
All I can hear is the Game inside
right.
from my right.
I mean, those stats they showed about Doom truly don't matter. It's 33. Hasn't lost a game on a 100% win rate, so
How many games?
Put that one. Only 3 right now, but still a decent amount of games played. But I wanted to talk a little bit about the carry meta. Just kind of talk about the lone group ban in there. This is like kind of brand new. Going into this tournament, Lino was up there. He was banned every single game in the first phase. Then people started picking Wind Ranger. That's been good. Then Luna came out of nowhere. It's like, wow, Luna is really good in the Road to International. Now there's some lone druid hero that everyone's playing in the carry position that we might not see. It's really cool to see, like, coming all the way up until just like even the top 4 here, that we still haven't figured out the meta. Like, they're still experimenting what's good, what isn't good. One thing about Liquid though is Mickey has not played a melee hero at this entire tournament. I don't think that'll change as well. So we're gonna see some adaptations. They took away the Mirana. This is a hero that Mickey likes to play a lot. I imagine he's gonna get targeted pretty hard as well throughout the ban phase, or just an eye pick.
I mean, wouldn't you say Doom is good against Lone Druid because you stop him from killing and you're doing percentage-based damage, right? And Lone Druid is really tanky with all the item build he's going now. So wouldn't Doom be a decent answer actually against Lone Druid?
It's hard to say because, like, yeah, you do Doom and yeah, you do percentage-based damage, but he also transforms, and these like transformation heroes are pretty good versus Doom. And when you have 6,000 HP, it's already like kind of too much even for them Eternal Blade to tick through. Of course, your bear is always like brooding and doing things on the side. I think the hero just right now is too annoying to let through, especially because Gaming Gladiators, they proved that they can play it on Ace in the past. Now, most recently, Durachio can play it too, so it's like.
Yeah, because I think that's the biggest issue more than anything here. You might, in theory, have an answer for it, but what if you end up not even leaning against it? That lone druid has so much flexibility for that side of things. That is, you just said that there. But there was still more respect. Like, that brood mother also figured out.
We're going back to, I think it was
Valahia. This was Durachio's hero of choice. He wanted it every single game and was spamming it in pubs. He loved it.
I gotta say, Pierre, that's the most excited I've ever heard you sound.
I've got like 2 heroes that I really like, Lone Druid and Clinks.
This is your meta, dude. I think it's time to unretire.
Put me in, coach.
Well, give us some more about this Clinks. How is it working on this? Because the last time we saw it competitively, around 3 patches ago. Now there's bound to have been some changes to it.
The way to go, you get the passive where he moves you when you kill a creep.
Typically that's what people like, yes. Both of them, I would say it's like a 40-60 pass that most people are going with one that moves you, mainly because that removes the cooldown by 10 seconds on that back, which allow you to use it more, not only for farming, but to keep your health up. And in some niche situations, you can just move your positioning a little bit, get out of danger. You gotta be careful with it though if you don't know how to use it, because that can just put you in danger, and that's like the one drawback of that one. I do like the Dark Willow response to Clinks, because Arrow Barrage, that's the one. Like, you can use that on the Dark Willow, but when you're in Shadow Realm, it does absolutely nothing.
Oh, that's one of the weird spells that
it doesn't do anything,
right.
So it's really hard for Clinks to kill that hero. On top of that, you have lots of disable. And Clinks is a hero, he's always been known for just assassinating supports right away, getting in good position with the Windwalk, getting right behind them and then killing them. Dark Willow, you can't really do that unless you itemize for like an Orchid, but that's not something you want to go on Clinks anymore, and you can easily buy Euls. It's a pretty good item on
Yeah, she's already going to get that. I was going to ask, what is the current build on Lynx, because this is not really a meta hero, even in pubs.
Well, it's not much different from every other hero, Lincoln.
I'm sure you
Gleipnir? No.
Arcane boots.
Arcane boots. Do you get Falcon Blades or just go for Gleipnir?
Yeah, so it's kind of like Lena. Like, depends on the player. You can go Arcane Boots or Falcon Blade. Most likely, he's going to go Arcane Boots, Falcon Blade, into... Well, not Falcon Blade. Arcane Boots into Gleipnir, into Dragonlance, into the Shard, into BKB crit. You know, same as every other does in the range position right now. So, it's very strong in that regard. It does lots of damage. But the downside and why we don't see it a lot compared to these other heroes is you're just really squishy. If you ever get on top of this hero, he dies incredibly.
And the Chen kind of helps with the buffs, the heals, and everything.
So what exactly is it about the buff that helps him live a little bit longer or the playstyle?
The heals, he gives you armor, and you have creeps in front to tank, and the pace of the game as well. Chen and Klings, you're going to be very, very fast. You're going to be pushing towers quickly. I think Klings, you just kind of want to play in a way where you are always constantly pressuring. You don't really want to be defending your side of the map. I feel like Chen is the perfect support to do that. And they're going to add an underlord, so you have global presence as well on top of that. So everything is going to be very, very fast. And whereas for Liquid, I think their job seems like they're going to be playing a little bit more slow with the Tren, Wind Ranger. They both need a little bit more of time as well to do. You know, you're going to go for the Midas, and it's going to take a little bit more time for you to get to your core items, your aura items, and you're probably going to be looking at trying to get the Doom on the Klings if you can. You know?
I mean, I do feel like we bring this up every time because it seems to happen a lot, where you pick Wind Ranger into Underlord. This hero has base damage reduction built into the hero, and he's a natural Crimson buyer. So the question becomes, why did Liquid do this anyway? And the answer usually is they see a window in the game to win the game. Wind Ranger gives that early tempo. He's able to go through the portal. You know, Wind Ranger can farm. Maybe they want to farm out some stacks or something like that, but there's some timing that they see where they can win the game. However, if the game does go late, Underlord is very good against Wind Ranger.
Yeah, and this is a classic Gaming Gladiators right here. Get the Chen, Underlord. They're going to buy all your auras for you. We even saw yesterday Tofu. He was like, huh, I've got an Underlord Chen. I can just go BKB Daedalus on my Mirana and start scaling into the game, which is a pretty good approach there. And I think for Liquid, they definitely just like this Wind Ranger for the tempo. It is a hero that can slow down the Underlord in the laning stage, which I think is very important. When you go against Gaming Gladiators, if you allow them to have good laning stage, they'll take that laning stage, they'll transition that into an early push, into an unstoppable ball, which gets an Aegis, goes to all your towers, and then you just feel like you can't fight. The game might just feel over. So yeah, I do like the fact that they're going to slow that down a little bit. Tree is kind of doing similar things that Chen will do. He's also providing some auras in his own way, a little bit of team fight. But I will say, Gaming feel like they got everything they wanted so far in their draft.
Yeah, for Liquid, they're going to be really counting on this Wind Ranger movements. I mean, we briefly talked about the 5v5 at the Wisdom Room, but I think Wind Ranger is probably the best carry right now at coming to fights. Like, if there's a fight in the Wisdom Room, if there's a fight in the mid tower, the power runes, you TP the Wind Ranger in, you have a power shot, because it's probably the best nuke, right, in the early game, non-ulti nuke. You throw a nuke from far, you're going to turn a gank around, you know, and going through the portal as well. Not many carries can do that kind of damage in the early levels.
But we're still going to be looking for that mid laner, and what we do love to see...
On both sides.
Yeah, on both sides. Liquid are going to have to show theirs first. What we do like to see is people picking up mid laners that can be active with those cores, and I'm wondering what's still left in the pool. Queen of Pain. Answered my question right there.
That's an interesting one. I think Gaming, they definitely want a hero for Quinn that moves around the map, like typical, because you do have a hero like Underlord who's going to sit and farm a lot, doesn't make a lot of rotations. It's not like Centaur or something that buys a blink and moves around, or Mars. So they do need Quinn to fill that gap. And Qualpin historically has been pretty good versus most of them, and it can apply some pressure. But however, if Quinn can find that rotation hero and still do well versus Qualp, I feel like this could be a little bit greedy for Liquid here. They do have like the Doom in the offlane, they do have the Wind Ranger. Queen of Pain doesn't necessarily have the best lockdown either, pretty much doesn't have any, so they're going to be all in on like the laning stage and slowing the game down. So I'm very curious to see what Quinn is going to pick up against this one. Voker is great, banned out. What other melees could they possibly pick?
Ricky?
Ricky! Alright, DK, that's a classic. It is not as good as some of the other spirits at moving around the map, of course, but all the other spirits don't flame well versus Queen of Pain here. Very, very scary tempo here from the side of Gaming Gladiators. as well as Liquid, they have strong lanes here. They look pretty good as well, but they don't have that like group of 5-man potential that I see Gaimin has, and this has always been the question. Which of these teams is faster? And I feel like Gaimin picked a faster lineup that can just be scarier if they get ahead.
Well, I mean, outside that, you're saying they have this tempo. What if they don't really reach it, Winter? What if the lanes don't get absolutely stumped? They're able to come out evenly. Do they miss that window? Is it a little bit harder for them to be able to get back onto track and be able to snowball through it?
No, I don't really think so. I think Gaimin's heroes, even if they don't really win their lanes, as long as they get their levels and they're farming, they're going to be able to hit their timing no matter what. And it's going to be up to Liquid whether they can slow it down. Like I said just now, the Wind Ranger is going to play a very, very key role in this game, whether he can actually come to the important fight, stop Gaimin from playing their tempo.
And Jenkins, final thoughts from you as well?
Yeah, I agree. I feel like if Liquid can get the game to go late and they get Nisha to, you know, his Aghanim Scepter and they have Doom for the DK if he's really huge, I do think that Liquid can win this late. But it's Gaimin we're talking about. Their games don't really go late.
Yeah, a team that has always had that successful early game, a team that has been able to pull back what feels like games they're about to lose. But either way, let's get on into game number 1. But first, let's go down to our stage with Tsunami.
Thank you very much. I am joined by Blitz of a Team Liquid, where I have to wonder, we have been here 1,000 times before, Blitz, and oftentimes we see your players, we wonder, you know, is this some kind of mental block against Gaming Gladiators? But for you, on your end, on the draft side of things, on the preparation side of things, what's it like constantly going into this brick wall over and over again?
For me, I don't get discouraged at all. I feel like if I have to play these guys 1,000 times, I'll fucking do it. Like, I don't care. It's some loser-ass mentality to think that they're going to just keep beating us. In my mind, we'll catch them slipping, and it's going to be here at this TI.
Okay, I like the dynamic shift. And yet, while we may be changing the ideals and the angles of this draft, it seems like we're kind of throwing back into maybe like a Wallachia meta. Durachio's out here picking Clinks. You're obviously picking the Doom, which has brought you a lot of success. Seems like not too much has changed in that regard, despite the fact that a lot of this tournament has been shifting around in the meta.
Yeah, I mean, we're like the two most boring teams. We all just play the same thing. Ned has played Doom like 100 times. These guys don't know anything other than picking Underlord and Chen, so, you know, it's really snooze, but I think we got their number this time.
Will we at least get a game 3, Blitz, or are you gonna 2-0 them or something?
No, I think they'll give us like a competitive game 2 and then we'll crush them. So it's like a 2-1. Feels okay.
Are we ready for a 3-game series, Copenhagen? Then let's make it happen. Over to our casters.
Welcome to the upper bracket finals. We have Suns fan here. You can call me Suns Phlegm for this cast, as we are joined by the Great Dane himself, Cinderin. Hello.
Hello. Wow, what a lead-in. What a lead-in to this series. Always love the pre-game interviews coming out from Blitz. There's always some spice there, expecting, and it sounded like hoping for a 3-game series. And yeah, this is I love the edge that he has. He's like, yeah, we're just two boring teams playing the same stuff every time, and he's obviously just playing into what he's reading on Reddit, which is his second favorite thing to do, aside from being a coach, of course.
Yep, of course.
I think this is the type of game that the talk of the town after this game is going to be Clinks, right? It's the first pick of the entire tournament on this hero. Gaming Gladiators pick it as their second overall hero.
Yeah, why so early?
That is my question that remains to be answered. I think part of it here is this must be a lane counter, that they consider this hero exceptionally good against Doom, that this was what they prepped. And of course, a little bit of an X factor that I have started looking for a lot when teams are picking Mirana is how can you get multiple cores that really benefit from Solar Flare. Clinks gets a ton of attack speed and damage from that Mirana, so does the Dragon Knight. So, you know the way Gaming Gladiators usually like to peak around minute 20, it feels like Clinks is the type of hero that could do a ton with that Mirana.
Yeah, absolutely. And in terms of the Clinks, we did see this in a few patches not too long ago. So I'm going to talk with a little deeper voice. I've seen it gone through the second puberty of my life for whatever reason here, probably because of your presence. As actually Foxy, going to get gone on here. Celery, not able to finish the job though. But what kind of late game presence does this Clinks provide in this meta?
I don't think thinking about late game when you talk about game even makes sense.
That's true.
This is
never even seen it.
I genuinely feel like the more I watch them draft, the less they care about scaling. It's not... usually, honestly, in this tournament, the games that we've seen them lose is because they don't win by minute 30.
Yeah.
So that's always the timing that they're aiming for, and I'm curious to see how the Clinks plays into that. As I was saying yesterday when we were covering a game of theirs as well, is I think the way you prepare and you fight Gaming Gladiators is that you prepare for the first 20 minutes of the game and what you're going to do there. And if you survive those 20 minutes, and you know what, then you can think about what you want to do next. And I think this time around for the side of Liquid, you've got some really solid lanes and strong team fight. My main concern is, do you have enough damage? Because this is the issue that we've seen a lot of teams run into against a team like Gaimin, is you reach this 20-minute mark and they just can't kill them anymore.
Yeah.
Can Queen of Pain handle that with some pure damage? Can you handle it with just the Doom preventing Gaimin from healing? You can still put on the shields. We'll see if there's enough in the tank. And of course, potentially the highest teamfight damage output hero in the entire game right now is also on the side of Liquid with Mickey on the Wind Ranger. But this hero is item dependent to get there. You kind of need that Gleipnir plus at least Crystallis, maybe even Daedalus before it gets truly outrageous what damage output. And that is not a common 20-minute inventory on that hero.
And of course, in this upper bracket, we'll be finding out what region goes on to the grand finals. Will it be EU or EU? And then in the lower bracket, EU or EU.
Yeah.
Very surprising stuff. I mean, these two teams are no strangers to each other, so we have seen, I don't even know how many games, actually, but it usually is Gaimin that come on top.
Yeah, Liquid have had their number a little bit more this year than previous year, which I think is probably a little bit inspiring for them, so we have a tiny little pause here. Gives us time to think about this Treant versus Mirana situation, which they're fighting for each other over this Lotus pool. Topu has the stun on to the Treant, so Topu will definitely get this Lotus and then probably just leap away.
Buy that at the Dota 2 store right now. Very cheap. Is that the $5 or the $20?
That's a $5.
That's nice.
That's a good old $5.
That's good.
Hydrated. That's true. All right. So yeah, that's exactly it. And Tofu does get the Lotus. It comes at a cost, though. He basically lost his entire health.
Celery, he's in a bit of trouble right now. This could be first blood, potentially. Boxy trying to finish the job. Around the trees he goes, though. Gets off the creep to try to block a bit. Actually gets the kill on the creep instead. And Celery into the trees. Boxy continuing to pursue, but going to cover the tier 1. Should be okay.
Nice hero placement there from Celery, just standing in that tiny little cubby there, hiding off. There was enough mana on Boxy to use both spells if he used his 8 stick charges, so maybe they could have found a kill there. But instead, now 33.
Yeah.
On the receiving end will be okay.
Bramble will hold them back. Everybody playing with such little HP in this lane right now.
If this is the first time you watch Clinks this patch, by the way, don't be fooled. It does look like when he shoots tar bombs that he has this like huge cone. He does not. This is it's only hitting the target. 33 will be first blooded here, by the way.
And that's going to go to Duraccio of all heroes.
Was not accounting for the effectively blink with Death Pact there, getting on top of the Doom. So we were talking about this potential pick as a lane counter to Doom. So far, so good for Duraccio.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, with this current version of Clinks, how fast does it come online? Obviously, it's going to be coming online with the rest of Gaimin's very fast-paced pipeline that we've seen so much of. But how fast would you say, like, what item? The first 2 items, let's say, he's going for.
I mean, I'm assuming Gleipnir is the choice, and then the question is, do you actually buy your shard, or is that the second one? My frame of reference for this hero is a little bit lacking, because we haven't had a single game of it all tournament, so, you know, sometimes you see the pump builds, but that's not actively what works in pro. Okay, nice pressure there onto Nisha from Quinn, forcing back all the way between the towers. Now, Quinn's in a little bit of a compromised position, but nobody's coming in from the side of Liquid. This is running him down here. It's going to force another blink.
Wow.
Really bullying Nisha here.
Actually go back to base, too.
He's losing a full wave in his own tower.
Yeah,
that is
really
a major loss. Quinn will be hitting level 6 quite much earlier as a result. We'll see if he can keep putting some pressure onto that tower with that. Of course, the dragon form. Quinn has opted for the Fire Dragon facet. I think it's the only one we've seen all tournament, bar 1 game of Green Dragon, dare I say.
Really? I don't remember that one.
And the reason I checked is if you're getting any other facet than the red one, it's because you're playing mid and you're playing pace.
Or you misclicked.
Or you misclicked, of course. That may have happened once or twice this tournament. Sometimes you forget to pick your facet.
That's right.
Could happen to
They would
anyone.
never admit it.
Big damage. We'll be okay, though.
Yep, this lane, Mickey sitting on 30 and 5 CS. And I mean, Ace is also just having a great time this early game. That is one of the scariest propositions for Liquid, trying to shut down this Underlord. Quinn in his dragon form. It's the dragon tail off, continuing to harass the absolute living crap out of Nisha.
He's already down to 3rd health again, and this is perfect timing for Gaimin. So they have Siege Creep, Chen is coming in with 2 additional creeps. They have Tofu flanking from the right. And Quinn will keep tanking this tower as much as he can to keep the Siege Creep alive, just barely staying on the outskirts here of the radius. Needs to go in and take a hit here, he will. Liquid kind of have to respond to this. I feel like you can't just sacrifice this tower minute 6. They'll glyph for now. See if the rotations are coming. Gaimin are keeping tabs on the support rotations here. 2 shard golems here able to throw a couple stones on the Boxy.
Yeah, they'll finally kill off the siege here, but yeah, half HP tower and they use the fort. As Mickey already making a quick rotation to the top lane. Dyrachyo completely out of mana. You're going to see the leech seed on top of him as well. Pops the wand, but Shaq actually does not connect. Either way, uses the Death Pact blink to get out of arm's length, but it doesn't matter. Mickey finds him in the end. And meanwhile, mid lane,
they brought
takes out Nisha.
Yeah, that Dragon Tail arrow combo. The tail, as old as time, will get Gaming Gladiators effectively an even trade, I suppose. I mean, Klinks was the top net worth in the game, so I assume Liquid are somewhat okay with that. But going back to what we were talking about Gaming Gladiators pacing in this game, if Queen of Pain has a bad start, I really worry for their ability to stop the ball when it's coming in 15-20 minutes. I think Nisha has a very important role to play that is largely down to a good Dagon timing and level 12. He really needs to get Sonic Wave up and running. So yeah.
Well, 33. One of the few players in this tournament center that has been able to find some success on this hero. A horrific win rate overall.
Yeah, it was funny how Doom did okay in the start, and then we got to playoffs, and he lost 8 games in a row, and then he started winning again. So it's like teams didn't give up on it. They made some adjustments. They figured out what to do to cover its weaknesses and how to play around it. And now in the later stage of the tournament, we've seen Doom doing quite a lot better. Dust onto Dyrachyo. He's also doomed.
Yep, mildly inconvenienced though as the TP comes in. Quinn not able to save his comrade as the Dark Rift is there from Ace, and 33 still pretty damn healthy. Bit of Malice applied to him into the Dragon Tail, so it's going to be a double root as he is now surrounded, although Insania is in the area. Celery flanking him from behind, and the Bramble is going to put this chase to an end. So they do get the position 1 from Liquid's side.
It really helps a lot for the Doom to make these plays that he has the level 2 living armor at his disposal out of Insania. We've seen some games with Treant where the players aren't really opting for much focus on living armor early on in the draft, or early in the game, I should say. But in this strategy, it's very clear that this is Liquid's approach to not only defending their towers, but also enabling their heroes to go that little bit deeper. On lane Ace.
Shackle. Got the whirlwind effect as well. Dyrachyo makes his way over though. The Pit of Malice on the 2 as Nisha gets a Sonic Wave off, destroys Ace. And Dyrachyo have to try to flank here. Just try to get away in that skeleton walk. Should be okay. Looks to be fine.
So you gotta say, so far so good for the side of Liquid. Many teams at this point, in some of the stompy games we've seen from Gaimin, with the type of lineup they're running here, this could have already, against other teams, been a 3K lead with 2 or 3 towers down.
I mean, is there a team that has played Gaimin more than Liquid in the last year?
Good question. They will lose their first one here, though. Quinn does manage to break through the living armor on the mid-tier 1. Quinn is eyeing up a fast blink. So we've been talking about potential damage issues for Liquid. What if we look at the other side? So Dragon Knight, not the highest damage output hero. Klinks will be going for the Deso first on Dyrachyo. I guess Solar Flare is always going to provide you with damage. Tofu.
Yep, he looks to be likely, although he's actually going to be able to leak away. Nisha's the one in a lot of trouble. Dyrachyo actually gets the last hit there.
Do they have detection now for Boxy?
Boxy picks up the invis, blood grenade applied.
They have a sentry. Tofu.
Yep, puts down another one, and that's going to be the death of the support. So 2 quick kills for Gaming Gladiators. A very back and forth affair so far in this game number 1.
And now the Queen of Pain and the Underlord neck and neck on net worth again. So clear tiering here. 4 cores well ahead of the rest. I think for Gaimin, if they could choose for this to be the game state on those networks specifically, I think they're happy to let Ace have a little bit of a slower start at the expense of the Quab.
And 33 here, looking for his second Doom of the game, but not sure what he wants to go for here, Cinder. And typically you see the Midas at some point, but we'll be going for the Crimson, knowing that Gaimin are going to be pushing really hard.
Yeah, I wonder what he's doing next. Is this a dagger game? Maybe not. You have some somewhat reliable setups with the Brambles, with the Overgrowth, potentially coming in from Insania from the tree line. However, I think it's going to be so important for Liquid to doom the Clinks in particular that he might have to get it. Since that is going to be the deciding factor of the fights.
You have the Dragon Tail opening. Nice gank as Mickey is killed immediately.
Yeah, Ace didn't even need to show up for that. There's so much damage just between the Mirana and DK, and that was without even having Solar Flare.
And Dyrachyo has the Desolator, so these buildings will melt. Tier 1 bot will be forted, but will only delay the inevitable, as this will go the Gaimin wave. Question is, will that be reciprocated in the top lane?
Yeah, definitely. If you're the side of Liquid, you want to try to equalize the towers, open up somewhere else so that you don't fall too far behind in this first 20 minutes. The very classic Gaimin style is coming into effect. As we said earlier, not the stompiest early game they've had. They still should be quite comfortable with the position they're in. Liquid will get that tower trade now, going the way of 33. So that's a Crimson Guard complete in 300 gold. Uh-oh, not again. Mickey.
Oh, the arrow hits. Do they have the damage? Centaur Storm to follow. Is going to get the winner off along with the Whirlwind. Insania is there for some moral support. Gets off the Overgrowth, but it's not enough. Mickey falls again.
Yeah, Celery attacking there for 135 damage on Chen. I wonder why that is. Maybe Mirana pressed her ult, and then even though she was overgrown, it doesn't matter. Celery will just finish the kill with a nasty right click from Chen of all heroes. And yep, that is another big kill onto the Wind Ranger. This is a hero that is able to open up the fights against Gaimin later down the line. We talked about those 2 damage items really getting there, but his 2 deaths back-to-back slows down Gleipnir significantly.
Yep, Quinn going through the gate. He's going to meet 33. Dyrachyo was hounding him all the way. Already at half HP, trying to run away, but the question is, will he? Nice blink from Quinn. Has a stun up in a few seconds is Dyrachyo. Okay, the Crimson Guard's going to buy him a little bit of time. It's going to be close, though. A couple more right clicks will suffice. Still has a lot of move speed. Another phase boost activation as meanwhile Ace and Tofu die in the bot lane. And 33 finding a lot of distance here, attempting the TP. Looks like he's out of there. Wow, really tanky.
That is such a crucial escape. Not only does he not die, but the amount of time that Gaimin just wastes on 2 of their cores creates tons of space down bottom to win that fight for Liquid, with Nisha and Mickey getting a kill each. And that will bring Mickey back in a comfortable position now in second on that net worth.
And Liquid gets both wisdoms at the 14 minute. We've seen this time and time again, either the 7 or the 14, having huge impact. So Liquid definitely not falling behind like we've seen so many times against this Gaimin Gladiators lineup. Okay, let's do a thought experiment.
Okay.
Somehow this game goes late. Who has a better lineup?
I would say absolutely Radiant for me.
Radiant?
Yeah, I think so. I think the support... Oh, hang on, Insania.
Yeah,
let's do a thought experiment. Where will he respawn in 30 seconds?
It's a very philosophical question. Dragon Tail from Quinn. No follow-up, though. And the Dagon just to get some nice HP back for Nisha. Level 11 now.
So, the reason I think the Radiant lineup is so strong later in the game is that this Wind Ranger carry, we've seen many games where it just absolutely obliterates late game, and you're playing it together with 2 insane AoE support controllers, which is exactly what she wants to work with late in the game. You've got Overgrowth, you've got Terrorize. On top of that, Doom is one of the ultimate late gamers. So even if Gaimin Gladiators get really farmed on multiple heroes, they might still just get doomed on 2 cores.
Oh my god, he put him back into the pit, but I don't think there's going to be much follow-up here. Whirlwind to deal with some of these creeps. Mickey's fine. Very close to a kill, though for Gaiman. That would have been really crippling for the Windrunner. Top 2 net worth despite having these 2 deaths for Mickey.
Yep.
As Quinn's going to be found by Nisha and Insania, slow to a crawl. Dark Crypt is coming, 33's there as well, gets off the Doom onto the Dragon. I know regen for you, Sonic Wave to follow. Looks like Quinn is likely going to fall no matter what. Now Ace trying to tank up as much as possible. A nice pit, he's going to get Curse Crown though. Onto the high ground, he should survive. Either way, Gaiman lose Celery on top of the original.
Daracho.
Okay, Daracho in the middle of nowhere, as usual. Will be dusted, using the Dark Pack to try to get away, but it's not going to be. 3 dead for Gaiman, and Liquid coming out on top big time.
Yeah, this is the most important part of the game for the side of Liquid, and they're delivering. Just winning these fights handily. This isn't... Honestly, these fights aren't even really that close. The moment the Doom comes out on the Dragon Knight, Quinn can't stand his ground. He's not getting healed by the Chen, and they just step by step poke them down with all of their spells. It feels like Gaming Gladiators need to get some sort of pipe up and running to block a lot of this damage from the Wind Ranger, from the Doom, and from the Willow.
Yeah, this was just a really awkward fight for Gaiman. And the Sonic Waves so far from Nisha have been on point. So for Gaming Gladiators, Cinderin, if you're behind, I mean, have we seen them behind at this stage of the game?
Not in this stage of the tournament. I think this is the first time they get fair to, okay.
Dragon Tail into Arrow. This should be a freebie.
Yeah, it will. At this stage of the tournament, we haven't seen them challenge this much in the first 20 minutes. So this is already a very good look for Team Liquid. Talked about the scalability of their lineup and the way Gaiman usually win their games, and how sometimes it can seem like Gaiman are losing their way when they're 25 minutes and then things aren't going according to plan. And I want to say that's not because they don't know what to do. It's because the way they tailor their lineups and the way they strategize is very much built around this stage of the game being a success, which it almost always is.
Nisha. Arrow's going to hit inside the Pit of Malice, so another root will come. Do they have the damage to finish the job? Dragon Tail as well? No. Nisha blinks out.
That is a kill with Solar Flare, but it was on cooldown.
That is
Tofu.
actually true. That is true.
They will force him back, and they will immediately look for something else here. So, full smoke up. Side of Liquid are grouped up and trying to connect. 33, if they found him here, that would be big.
Yeah, he's a very tanky boy. He blinks just in time. Quick fingers for 33.
This is huge because this was potentially a Roche kill, actually. If they take out the Doom there, he wouldn't have had buyback, and they could have 5v4'd the Roche, so another good dodge.
Daracho dodging the dust. The smoke was popped, but Liquid just going to be happy with the Ward Expedition here. And Ace has his Greaves. They'll be going for the Pipe of Insight next. Liquid look like they're looking for a fight. Not afraid right now. Pipe near for Mickey. BKB looks to be next.
I think whenever they have Doom ready, they're not necessarily favored in a fight, but if they get the fight on their terms, they're absolutely capable of killing off any hero of their choice and then building it around that. Tofu will get the leap off in time, so we'll get shackled here against that Gleipnir. So another gank dodged, one from either side. Now, will Liquid force this? Will they just go straight into the tower? And what will Gaiman do? Daracho has no mana. Running around the mid area of the map, doesn't really have much to offer, and it looks like Gaiman Gladiators are just full-on forfeiting this tower. So Liquid will grab that, and Insania, realizing that's what's happening, is already setting up for the counterplay because he's anticipating that Gaiman want to trade down bot. And if they're enough
mass TPs, Daracho gets hit by the Gleipnir. Whirlwind to fall, doing a lot of damage to the creeps, but not so much the Clinks. And 33 finally jumps in, gets off the Doom just to ensure that the Clinks does die. But Quinn coming in with the Dragon Tail into the Arrow. Is it going to be enough damage to take out Mickey? It's going to be close. Yes. It's a 1-for-1 for the carries on each respective team. Big Terrorize coming out from the Dark Willow, though, as Quinn continued to right-click on a 33, doing barely any damage. The Doom's so tanky at this stage of the game, as Insania is stuck in a horrible place. He gets evaporated. Nisha gets off the Sonic Wave, deletes Tofu in turn. So 2 for 2.
Nisha's freedom around here.
Got the Shadow Realm away. Ace and company looking like they might soft back here. Nisha very low on mana, as Quinn apparently wants to continue on against the Dragon Tail. Again, 33. They are tickling at this stage of the game. Firestorm is a good opportunity to do some damage to him, though, inside that Pit of Malice as well. He pops the Crimson Guard, though. Curse Crown's going to eventually activate. The Bedlam not going to be enough as Boxy is finally brought down by Quinn. So in the end, a 3-for-2 favor Gaimin.
Yeah, and Liquid get the hell out of there because Ace is bringing in Dyrachyo through the gate. So, a decent outcome, you have to say there for Gaimin Gladiators, especially if they end up claiming the tower as their grand prize. And yeah, well, with this amount of rally units, it's only a matter of time before this tower says bye-bye. All right, down it goes. Still, Roshan is up, has been up the whole game. Neither team has claimed it just yet, and it has to become a point of contention now with multiple towers now down and with the position Gaimin Gladiators have on the map and the knowledge that Doom and Sonic Wave are down. I think this is just a total freebie. Liquid should be, even if they were in position to smoke for this right now, I think they would just make the call against it. The risk-reward just doesn't seem good enough. So Gaimin pick up some steam here. They pick up the Aegis. And I'm assuming probably putting it on Dyrachyo so he can play very aggressive. Dragon Knight as a transformation hero. All right, he is the choice. I mean, this is a hero that we sometimes see people put it on, sometimes they don't because the second life isn't as good as the first. However, the way Liquid have approached the fight so far in the game, they've really focused on dooming Quinn when they can. So
true.
This dissuades 33 from going for that play.
So what you're saying is Dyrachyo's screwed.
He might just be able to play the fights completely differently now that there's an Aegis in play. Because now he can be more patient. Quinn can go in, create vision in the
Did you say Dyrachyo be patient?
He can be more patient, which is waiting 1 second instead of 0.
I see. Okay, gotcha.
But it's a good point. Unlikely to happen.
Tofu will get his
shard for the Mirana.
Yeah, that's
He's
a good
gonna
one.
be really happy about that. Let's see what he pivots to now, because he was ready to buy it just now. Now Tofu has a choice to make. As Fear pointed out on the panel, we've seen games where Gaimin Gladiators are playing this Chen Underlord that Tofu will just go BKB into carry items. Wouldn't mind seeing that here, honestly. And that's not because, okay, Gaimin will plan for, oh, hang on. All right, everybody dodges everybody. Never mind. There's a Gleipnir.
Yep, except for Tofu. Does get one leap off, but and the Hand of God.
Wow, actually Hand of God.
Yeah, that is one important ult down now.
That was a completely hopeless situation. He had 0 leaps left. He was never getting out of that one. But
33, Doom initiation. Nisha gonna Shadow Strike to slow this Underlord to a crawl. This is eventually gonna be the kill, going the way of Liquid.
Yep.
So Liquid really on top of things in this game number 1. And the Gleipnir now with the Whirlwind to follow. Mickey with the help of Boxy will take out Celery as well. So 3 dead.
Damn, they're just bleeding out. They have the Aegis, they have the advantage, and Liquid are just picking them apart one by one and across multiple lanes. They'll now get the bottom tier 1 and the mid tier 2. Talk about a power play with a disadvantage. This was not what I think many people would have expected in this game state. When Gaimin gets the Aegis, usually they're the ones deciding how things go down.
Dyrachyo.
Okay, big damage.
Gotta be careful. And 33 just tanking up this tier 2 tower. There is now TP coming in. Remember, Quinn has the Aegis still. In his dragon form, another blink away. Tofu, is he actually gonna die just to Boxy? Yes, wow. That is unreal. He's gonna fake out the Terrorize, run away. The Pit of Malice already on cooldown.
So many things going right for Liquid. I was gonna say, they gotta be a little bit careful with the TP reinforcements with Doom on cooldown and the numbers being able to be brought there from Gaimin, but they're just too fast. They're killing the heroes before Gaimin get to group up, which is what they've been so good at for so long, is getting that formation going and setting the terms of the fight. If you break them off too quickly on the side of Liquid, then it doesn't really matter. Then they don't get to that point.
Yeah, 4K lead here for Liquid, and this Aegis just seems to be doing absolutely nothing for Gaimin Gladiators, at least not yet. Still have time to try to make use of it, of course, as Mickey has the 9-second BKB. And Dyrachyo going for an MKB, it seems. He's going to have a lot of right-click damage.
Let's see what Gaimin want to do now. Still a minute and a half on that Aegis. Do they have any smokes? They do. So they have a smoke available on... Okay, they have 2 smokes, actually. They're going to pop one now. and try to find a moment of opportunity. I think the ideal fight for them is catching a core around the mid area and then turn that into a tier 2. High ground seems a little bit like a pipe dream right now, but I say that and it's Gaming Gladiators, so probably not. But yeah, we are approaching the part of the game where they usually win. So
still very even though, according to Dota Plus. Dust not going to connect. And Gaiman trying to make use of his Aegis. They're grouping up. And Liquid, I would assume, will try to just delay until around the expiration date of said Aegis. Nisha getting pretty close to the Aghanim Scepter, just 800 away.
So smoke move unsuccessful. They do place down a very nice aggressive ward in that bottom half of the map. They actually, as a matter of fact, have 2 down there. So if Liquid were to go down there and farm, get a good punish, they'll try 33.
Dragon Tail, arrows coming for him as well. Do they have the damage to actually rip through him? The big Terrorize, though, to try to counteract this. Mickey with the BKB and the Whirlwind as well. The Doom applied to the Underlord trying to run away. Mickey's the one getting deleted, though, has to be really careful. Will eventually back away, just barely living. As Nisha gets off a Sonic Wave onto 2, already deleted Ace to start this fight out. Overgoat's gonna hold him in place for Nisha, try and reset. Duracho kind of stuck in no man's land. Will use his ability to be able to blink away, but not far enough it seems. Trying to take out Mickey, the very edge of this fight. He finally gets taken out by Quinn, but it's gonna cost Duracho his life. It's a 2 for 2. That's 2 cores for Gaming Gladiators down.
Yeah, Gaiman will try to pursue though.
Yep, Arrow. Continuing on, the arrow is going to hit thanks to the Dragon Tail as well. Boxy coming in with the Bedlam, trying to take up as much damage as he can. Nisha getting off the Shivas. Is Celery attempting to run away. They're going to lose Boxy though on the Liquid side. Nisha very low on mana, but he's going to continue to pursue as Celery falls. They are using so many resources.
These fights are so insanely close.
Oh! The Aghanim Scepter puts the end to Tofu.
Wait, was that Quinn actually killing him? Did I see that right? Did that one come from the Dragon Knight, or was it from Mirana herself?
I'll have to see it again.
I think Quinn actually killed him. He did not realize that the Shadow Strike on himself was expiring with that axe.
Ultimate toxicity from Quinn.
Yeah. He wants a better solar flare is what he's trying to say. You get an upgraded version. I'm not sure if that one was from the DK, but it did look like it. It can be a bit difficult to tell sometimes, but nice little extra kill for Nisha.
We'll watch it again here.
I mean, what an insanely long fight this one.
Yeah, a really good Terrorize as well from Boxy. Basically resetting things completely. And I don't know how Mickey lived so long in this engagement.
So the way Mickey is playing this fight is kind of interesting. He walks in with BKB and Whirlwind, and he's waiting to wind run until he's on 20%. He had it ready the whole time. So he's tanking up whatever damage he can, knowing that when he wind runs, he's more or less invincible against the Dire lineup. So he's kind of baiting them to spend as many resources as possible that amount to nothing. This is going to become dangerous when Klinks gets some True Strike, though. And we're not far off that MKB, which could completely change the course of this game when Duracho gets it.
This fight was still, it was this long, apparently.
Oh, look what Mickey has.
So there's the Shadow Strike with the Aghanim Scepter. Let's see. As Celery falls here. And eventually, okay, so Tofu's the one that's Shadow Struck right now. Quinn, I don't think he is. Or is he? Oh, yeah, you're right.
He is. Oh, that's the stuff.
Uh-oh. Duracho. Ooh. Nice. Pit of Malice from Ace to disengage here, although he's stuck in place thanks to the Gale Force. And Gaming Gladiators trying to disengage now. That's going to make a great GIF.
That is so good, man. Aw.
Make that into a meme immediately, please. Thank you.
So good, man. You gotta, I mean, Quinn is just good at reaction faces in general. So when you get a moment like that, that's the player you want it to happen to. It's awesome. Oh, man. What do you make of Windranger? I think, is this the first time we see Revenant's Brooch queued up on this hero? I feel like this is not a build that has been common at all here.
That's cool.
So just to remind everyone how this item works, since I don't think I've seen it a single game this tournament, it gives you damage and spell lifesteal, and then you can toggle it on to make your attacks cost more mana, but they deal magic damage and they can hit ethereal units but not crit. So he hasn't gone for the Daedalus, so maybe he won't at all, and he's trying to kill the enemy heroes through magic damage rather than physical, knowing that he's against Dragon Knight, knowing that he's against the Chen, Divine Favor. Interesting option here. I feel like this item is very hit or miss.
Yeah, it sounds like we have a listen in right here. Let's take a listen.
Not too bad, guys. This game better than this game. This fight's so good. Holy shit!
There we go. I have no idea what he just said, but that would probably
He said
make a good voice line.
which is always worth a listen in, of course. Yeah, that's how you too, as a Twitch chatter, can be top 3 at TI.
Oh yeah.
This is how comms are during high-stakes games playing for 7 digits. You know, it's interesting, isn't it? They're just humans like the rest of us, except in Dota, they're kind of godlike. But you know.
They can be subhuman at times as well, of course, as can we all.
Yeah.
7K lead here for Liquid. Roche is spawning in less than 10 seconds, and we're going to have a good old-fashioned Roche off. And who fights better in this area, would you say? Is Arrow will find Roche. He's not going to be too happy about that. But who would you say has advantage in this area in terms of team fight?
Oh, it's so hard to say. Honestly, with how close these fights have been so far, it really depends on who gets the right angle. Both teams have tons of potential. A really good pit can cause a devastating opener for the side of Gaimin. On the other side, Overgrowth, Terrorize, really big spells. Even a key Shackle Shot, which is a spell I feel like we've barely seen this game.
Oh, Nisha on the cliff. He gets some vision, but they have vision as well. Whirlwind doing a lot of damage. Ace trying to get the hell out of there, but the damage is applied to Mickey. The Doom onto the Dragon Knight. 33 is the one actually being evaporated despite being the tankiest hero in this game. But Gaming Gladiators, they lose Quinn. In trade is the Doom. It's already a 4-for-1, and only Dyrachio living through the day. Looks like he'll eventually be fine. But this fight not going the way that Gaimin were thinking initially.
There's just, that's what I mean about reaching the stage of the game for the Radiant lineup. When they get these items online and they get the right angle, look at that damage from Nisha on the Queen of Pain. 8,700, and this feels like it was in 5 seconds. Just ridiculous output from that Quap. I wonder how many people he hit with the Sonic. It's ridiculous damage. And of course, the Shiva's Guard also playing a part in these fights. It's preventing Gaimin from getting that regeneration and the healing in. And this will now result in an Aegis pickup for the side of Liquid, now in a very comfortable position. And now the big question is, what do Gaimin do? Because plan A has now officially failed. How does Klinks become a late game monster?
Look at this.
The Solar Flare is always going to be an X factor in the late game if Mirana gets there, but Tofu is, I haven't really talked about that so much, he's really poor this game. He was bottom net worth just a moment ago on that Mirana. So the BKB isn't even close to finished, and we're 34 minutes in. He has no items.
Yeah, that's not something we've seen very much at this tournament.
6 deaths to his name, only 41 CS minute 34, has very much been given everything to his teammates, but might come back to bite him that he's been this selfless. When you get to this game state, you wish that you had that additional damage dealer when Dragon Knight is seemingly getting doomed literally every fight. And Quinn doesn't seem to want to itemize against the Doom either. We're not seeing any Lincolns pick up, we're not seeing the team trying to cover for him much in any way. I suppose his Pike is somewhat of a pseudo solution some of the time, but not quite cutting it.
Well, we're not too far away from the Revenant's Brooch, which, like you said, might be the first purchase the entire tournament. I feel like this item has not been a thing for quite a while since they changed the fact that you can't crit with it, right? That was the old Rebuke strat or PA strat.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun for a couple weeks that it was relevant.
Yeah, for the people that used it, everybody else hated it. That's Dota in a nutshell, though. Tormentor will go the way of Salary, so he now gets the whole Persuasion upgrade. So now can take an Ancient Creep based on level of Hand of God, so he can take 2 Ancients. I think you definitely want to get an Ancient Granite Golem here. It really feels like a matter of getting enough health on your team.
Yeah.
The armor from the Black Dragon, maybe not as important. Given that the Dyrachio, or excuse me, Mickey is completing the Brooch. Wonder if they think he is, though. They've only seen the Sacred Relic, so they might not even think he's going this path.
Yeah, true.
Could just as well have been a nullifier buildup. Or Radiance if this was 10,000 MMR lower than it is. Or maybe 12,000 lower. Yeah, got to get used to that. Now high MMR is actually 15k from what I've been told.
Wow.
So
keeps going. So there it is. Revenant's Brooch. We'll see how effective it is.
Needs to remember to toggle it. This is one of those things where, you know, you haven't really used this item very much, probably, as a player. The last bit of time. Gotta keep that. It's like an extra mental note you need to keep in check, and these fights are very fast and very chaotic. Nisha pushing out the wave. He has Aegis, so risk reward here. Okay.
Oh, they're actually going to try to jump Quinn, but he finds the distance. Although 33 going to really deep, gets the Doom and the Sonic Wave onto this Dragon Knight. Quinn is dead. Does not have the buyback whatsoever, as Mickey taking a decent brunt of the damage, but Ace, he's taken out in his own base as well. Mickey eventually falls. 80 seconds of no winner. That's actually so big.
If he doesn't die there, they could probably continue this push. I don't know if they can now.
Yeah.
Maybe they still can. I mean, Nisha has 2 lives, and he is the strongest hero in the game, arguably.
Yeah, a minute and a half on this Aegis. But no DK, no Underlord. Pretty huge for your defense here if you're gaming. As Nisha's going to jump in. Look at the damage onto the Chen, but the arrow is going to connect again. There's 2 lives on this Quap. Terrorize comes out as Nisha wants to finish the job. Godlike for him. Deletes Celery. The building's, though, not going down quite as fast, Cinderin.
Yeah, their lineup is not good at pushing, just flat out. Even if Mickey, I mean, if Mickey's alive, they're obviously much better, but doesn't have focus fire, of course.
So they get the tier 3, and will reposition. Another minute on this Aegis.
This might be all they get, but it's, I say that.
It's still big.
It's a lot. They got a lot out of that. This does open the avenue for Gaming Gladiators of potentially focusing Nisha in the next fight, but he has just shown such incredible resilience in the fights. He's a really tough kill. He's got 3,400 health, about 50 armor when he gets... He has 50 armor on Quap when he gets living armor. I had to do a double take on that. I can't believe I'm saying that out loud, that Quap has that much armor. That's
so what you're saying is Clinks needs a Revenant's Brooch as well.
I think the Daedalus is probably the right choice that he's going for. Yeah, this is just not what you're used to seeing in the past from Queen of Pain, right? He's just so stupidly tanky when he gets that living armor put on him. He will swap out his Craggy Coat for Ascetic's Cap, so he's losing some armor now, but still, he is ridiculously tanky, and you better 100 to 0 him, because you know if you don't, he's going to heal up with that spell lifesteal from the Dagon, from the Ags, from the Sonic Wave. It's a ton of healing, which effectively turns your damage to dust, so make sure... And that's a problem here, right? Do Gaimin actually even have that amount of damage to begin with?
Right. Oh boy.
Nisha
Shivas. Power shot gets a little bit of vision. 33 and company will find Quinn in the trees. Sonic Wave expended just to make sure that he dies.
It's a 25-second cooldown. He can use this for anything he wants on Nisha.
well. He had a rough laning stage. Like, Glenn definitely schooled him there. He zoned him out from like the first wave of like, not first wave, but at level 5. And he got 6 beforehand. It was really difficult, but he has been coming back in really bad lane matchups. I feel like this entire tournament. He's been playing like Puck versus Snipers, losing lane hard, coming back, still going beyond Godlike. He played Puck versus Viper. Now he's playing a Queen of Plane versus like this DK. And he's just still finding ways with bad laning stage to make things happen. But I did want to talk about this as well. This fight, 33, picks up the Crimson at the perfect moment, right off the corner, just dropped it off there. And that allows him to not only live here by picking up the Crimson at that moment, but it buys time. They get a double kill in that bottom lane, and he gets to TP out Scott Freer. So this is a really huge pickup. Him rushing this item with that living armor you see from the Treant Protector. These two items work hand in hand together, like the spell of Treant, giving him extra armor, then popping the Crimson. It makes hero like Blinks, where you do rely a lot on their skeletons to do damage. They don't do anything. They just like tickle you. And Duracho even went all in on the physical damage build with going the Desolator instead of the Maelstrom. That it made it even more effective.
I think Liquid just really understood they needed to just survive that timing in the early game with the Crimson. You know, I think without that item being rushed, like if he were to just slow it down by a little bit, maybe get some other smaller items or be greedy, get a Midas before he get the Crimson. We've seen a lot of players do that, and that would have actually been a pretty big deal in the game if he actually didn't have the Crimson early enough.
I did want to highlight this fight in particular because Nat, I think you noticed it, that Nisha actually fed his courier to get vision of where Game and were, and then he jumps onto the cliff. He just willingly gets arrowed to give his team vision of this fight, because 33, they knew that if they doom Quinn on DK, they win the fight. If they doom anybody else, they lose the fight, because DK is the only one that's going to output enough damage. DK is the one that's going to survive. If they don't doom him, he's too tanky. And all of this was achievable because Nisha was just blinking in head first. And they were blinking onto a Game and Gladiator's ward. Like, fighting into a ward is one of the biggest, like, death sentences you can do in Dota. So you need to have somebody that can jump onto the high ground like that, and he needs to also have the items in the backup of his team and the trust in order to do that.
Yeah, I mean, they were so quick to also join in on that. The Doom was so tough to take down here throughout that whole fight, and many, even if it's the Doom that goes down, you got Vicky just sitting there pumping out the damage. Same with Nisha. So they're honing in on what they think is the issue, and meanwhile, everyone else is off to the side of Liquid and just doing everything they possibly can using every single ability.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely had damage issues in this game. Like, the Clinks did not really have the damage, and unfortunately, as well, DK doesn't do high damage.
Well, look, this crowd has been amazing so far. It's only been game number 1 for our upper bracket, but you guys have been so loud, and I do know 2 other people that like to get loud with you guys. It's Slacks and Tsunami.
We sure do like to get loud over here, my friends. Yes, it is me, Slacks and Tsunami.
What's going on, friends?
They're getting loud. Wonderful. Now, we had a fantastic game of Doom in that last series, and we thought we'd come up with a little game, my friends. Tsunami, would you like to explain the game?
Now, we're seeing a lot of heroes over and over again, but there have been a lot of unpicked heroes. And seeing as how all of you are at the International, I'm assuming you're all authorities on Dota. So we're going to go through all these random crowd people, and I just need you to name one unpicked hero at the road to TI and TI. I know you're all thinking the same one. You're gonna have to think of another one.
We're going in order, so those guys in the back, you are screwed. So we're gonna start off. If you get it right, you get an iconic Doom hat. No whispering here, no cheating. All right, we're gonna go quick, so I'm gonna put the microphone in front of you. If you get it right, our game master Tsunami will tell you, and you get a Doom hat. Are you ready to play? Of course. All right, what is a hero that has not been doomed so far at this TI? Go!
Techies. That is correct.
Doom hat. Next.
Meepo. That is correct.
Visage.
That is incorrect.
Oh! You are doomed. Silent, muted, inconvenienced. Out you go. Inconvenience. Brewmaster.
That is incorrect.
Oh! Okay, we're moving on quick. What do we got? Ouija Doctor.
That is correct.
Fantastic. Hello? Whoa.
Tie Hunter.
That is correct.
Fantastic. He's ravaging. I feel ravaged by that man. Thank you. It's a skill shot. All right. What do we got? Arc Warden.
That is correct.
Axe. Huh?
That is correct.
Yeah, Axe. Incredible. Get out of that.
Vengeful Spirit.
That is correct.
Yay!
Ogre Magi, baby.
That is correct! That is correct!
This is a long time for that one.
Abandon! That is incorrect.
Oh! On the end! Oh, Jesus Senpai! I'll give you a hat.
It's still correct!
Take your hat, take your hat. Somebody's head over here. Oh, we gotta say hello.
Ringmaster.
Oh, this.
Oh, we got a funny guy here. We got a funny guy.
I like that. That's awesome. That's good. No booey. All right, huh?
Wisp.
Wisp.
That is incorrect.
Oh, of course there's a Wisp at TI. I'm so sorry, Dota Detective.
Life Stealer.
Life Stealer.
That is correct.
Yeah!
Someone got my answer.
What? Someone get my answer. Name 2 and I'll give you 4 hats. If you get...
Double or nothing.
Waking.
That is incorrect.
Oh.
Come on, K1 was in this tournament.
The group, the savior, on the same deal. You name 2, I'll give you 4.
What? OD. OD is correct.
One more. One more.
Sky Mage.
Which one?
Skywrath Mage.
Skywrath Mage
is incorrect.
Oh, you're so close.
Crowd, I think these people need some help.
Okay, hold on. We got one more. We're gonna do the double or nothing. I'll shower you in this box of hats, and you can take over this bid. If you get this right, I want 2 heroes. There's only 2 remaining.
Spirit Breaker and Huskar.
That's an 0 for 2 there, buddy.
Oh, nice. You had your hand up? I really thought you knew something I didn't know. Oh, dear. Can anyone solve our mystery? Okay. Okay.
Juggernauts and Necrophos.
That is correct.
Give me the hat box. Good. All right, get ready. You're about to take a hat shower, my friend. Here we go.
Make it rain on him.
What? What's it? Go, Jirachi, go! Go, Jirachi, go! All right, you give out these hats now. My job is done. What a great set. All right, we're going to draw it. Well,
Take my guess. Bagna.
the game has ended, sir. Give him a hat, for God's sake. All right, here. Take your hat. Was that right?
It was not right.
Okay, we'll take a hat anyway. Thanks a lot for watching. We'll see you for the next game. Back to you guys on the panel.
So sometimes I wonder if the fans watch more of the games than Slacks does, not knowing if Pogna got picked. Brother, it got picked up yesterday. This man wasn't watching. It did so well for them as well. You guys on my panel, though, could you have gotten it? Especially those last 2 picks. Oh.
Yeah, I have a phone too.
Oh, well, you can't Google it, Fia. Come on, man. That destroys the spirit.
I would definitely want to got the last 2. That was a difficult one. Like, there's a lot of heroes that haven't been picked.
Yeah.
And when it comes down to the last 2 that haven't been picked, that's difficult to do. So.
Necro was one of my first guesses. He sucks.
Dawn Mummy, I mean,
Yeah, he's
Dawnbreaker
awful.
would have been mine. Dawnbreaker, yeah. She would have been my first guess.
Oh yeah, Dom.
How could you guys have forgotten about her? I would love to see her. But we also had a Gaming Gladiators fan right at the end there. He wanted Doracho to be able to come back stronger. And that's what we're all hoping as well if we want to game at number 3, because Liquid in this upper bracket finals has been able to claim game number 1. So let's have a little bit of a theory craft. Jenkins, I know you're a big fan of those theories. What's going on backstage? What's the pep talk coming out from either one of the players or the coach CY on Gaming Gladiators to get the ball rolling again? Get back on the wagon.
I think there's, Dota, we're a game of recency bias. Everybody talks about the last TI winner. Everybody talks about the last series winner. Everybody talks about the last game winner. But you know what? This is Gaming Gladiators we're talking about. These guys are not going to go down easy. I think they're going to be angry. I think we're going to see a performance out of Quinn like none other. And we've seen Doracho, we had a fan in the crowd say, go Doracho, go. Well, you know what? This guy will go from feeding on Lone Druid, 3 times in a row in the most ridiculous way possible to executing a literally flawless Alchemist game. So this guy, he's a bit volatile, but when he needs to
on the first phase pick. You know, I think that could happen. And to be a hero, where it's not that easy to crack when the player truly understands the hero. It's very difficult to play around it. And if Liquid somehow gets Doom again, and the game goes into the phase where it's going to be about them trying to survive the first 15-20 minutes of the game, Doom is just a hero that would hold everything together.
I do think it's worth, though, trying, if you're gaming Gladiators, to ban out the heroes that like only Liquid look good on. I'm not suggesting that they do this, but...
Is that a long list, though? Is that maybe the problem?
I mean, would you just ban out Neta? I feel like you would just ban his hero out.
Maybe you ban out Neta, but I think there's heroes like, okay, Queen of Pain for Nisha. I don't think it's going to get banned, but just as an example, other teams have not been able to make this work. It looks like a bad hero. We even questioned it when the pick came out. We were like, okay, this is interesting, which is a polite way of saying, like, we think this is a bad pick. He had a terrible laning phase, but he understands the mid game and the late game so well that it's worth having a rough early game. So maybe Gaimin, their thought process here is ban out the like hyper specialty heroes of Liquid and try to get them to play on their terms, try to get them to play more normal Dota. And I think the 33 Doom definitely fits into this category. Probably so does the Visage. But if you can get 33 on a more non-33 offlaner, then I think you're looking better.
This was a talk, 2 TIs ago when this man won it. Is the list too long to be able to ban it out, though? Because even though...
I don't think so.
There's 5 heroes. He's
okay,
played 5 heroes.
Well, what I'm about to say is, I think the pool looks smaller because he's on Liquid, but it's still there. I do think there is still a depth that maybe he hasn't played it this tournament, maybe he hasn't played it for 2, but has he forgotten how to play that hero entirely?
I think that definitely also plays a role, but like overall, I feel like he's gonna be wanting to play a hero that he's really been practiced a lot. Like you don't want to like mid-series, okay, I'm gonna play something that I played 3 months ago, but I didn't play the hero like the last 2 weeks. You know?
I understand that too. I can definitely see that logic.
Maybe what you do is you ban out Beast, Sand King, Visage, Doom, and then he picks Enigma because it's the only hero left that he's played in this tournament, and then you respond with a Tofu Rubik and then steal the black hole. Maybe that's the play.
Okay, alright.
I mean, they did try to let it pick through and then counter it with a weird hero before with the Klinks, and it didn't work out. But I feel like Klinks is much less good than Rubik is. Like, Rubik is B tier, Klinks is like a straight up B tier hero.
Wow, you just slapped it right on there on the lowest tier possible.
What do you think here? How good do you think Klinks is in the current money?
Jenkins is about the hero.
Okay.
He's not very good right now.
Someone clip it. Jenkins is gonna have to keep that one for memories.
Yeah, I mean, Klinks right now, especially if you go for the build that Duracho went, which is the highest damage output build, it just isn't stacking up to the other ranged carries right now.
Alrighty, well, what's very dependent if they're able to ban out all of 33's heroes, or at least the majority of them, is if they even have the 4 picks themselves. We don't know who's going to be first pick or second pick, and the only way to find out is to get to our draft.
Team Liquid versus Gaimin Gladiators. Game 2.
We got a game at number 2 here. A lot of fans in the crowd. Some of them hoping for a game number 3. Some of them hoping for this series to be closed out now. But either way, let's see what is going to be respected and taken out. The Naga Siren is still going to be on that ban list first phase priority. Sand King Doom is now up there, changing out a clock. That's what was there in game number 1, and Doom has replaced it as a must ban for the side of Gaimin Gladiators.
Yeah, I just wanted to say like how disrespectful it would have been just to ban all of 33's heroes thinking that he just couldn't play anything else.
And then let Naga through.
And just let all the other like S-tier heroes into the game. Like, sure, I think right now the 2 heroes you have to ban for 33 is Sand King, is Doom, because those are just easy overall first picks for the game. His other heroes are more specialty. Like, you don't want to first pick a Visage, you're not going to first pick a Beast, you're not going to first pick an Enigma either. So, like, in that situation, you don't have enough bans in the second phase either. And that's kind of like why a lot of these teams look like they have small hero pools, because you don't have many bans in that second phase there. And there's just too many good heroes in Dota right now. Just, you have to ban and not let into the game in that first, like, 7 bans.
Yeah, I agree. You don't have to, he doesn't have to play much else. And this lets the SD through. banning out all these specialty heroes. You know, Lone Druid, Alchemist, these are also very targeted at gaming gladiators. Duracio's heroes, of course. Even the Broodmother is a Duracio hero, depending on which point in Dota you're looking at. But the
This
SD
is the most played hero
Windranger-
at this tournament, actually.
The Broodmother is.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the Alchemist.
Oh, yeah. I mean, these are all classics for him. But
They all are, yeah.
The SD Purge against Windrun is definitely one of the strongest counters to this hero in the game. So banning out all these specialty heroes means that Gaming gets a very nice counter pick with their first pick.
I will say the Shadow Demon as well could go on the 4 or the 5. It's not locked into, hey, it's definitely going to be, it's lane pairing if they want to show a core as their next support. There is a lot more to still be unveiled here, but the Wind Ranger, more locked in here, Winter.
Yeah, he's gonna be most likely the carry. We've seen a couple of games where he was played as a position 4. Don't think we've really liked it that much. I think this hero is just in a very, very good role in the carry. Like he just does everything that you want, and I don't really mind picking my carry early if it's a Wind Ranger. He's very strong in the lane. Doesn't really get bullied much. One of the best carries to rotate around the gate, TP to help, fight in the runes, and it's just very, very useful for the draft. And I do feel like when you are opening your heroes, it's always nice to open a hero where he's always going to be doing okay against any lane matchup.
Yeah, I mean, I think that was proven last game as well. Like, Crimson, the aura from the Underlord, it looks good, but he's in every single team fight, just destroying everyone, going different item builds, Growth is one of them. So, yeah, this hero is just good in every single game, and it's just, Liquid has proven time and time again, they don't want to counter-pick you one-to-one, they just want to pick the heroes that they think are good, fits their playstyle, and Wind Ranger on Mickey has been that hero this stage.
A 33 officially has 2 more heroes that he has played in this.
Oh no.
It is Visage and Enigma.
You think he'll pick one?
I'm not sure.
I'm more curious as to what gaming gladiators are actually going to pick up. You know, the Beast Band isn't a head scratcher, but the lack of support bands this is very abnormal for what we see in bands for our series. There's at least normally 3 supports banned out, but the only one that we can see right now is that Naga Siren. It feels like there's so many quote-unquote OP supports that other people have looked towards, just sitting there, waiting to get picked up.
Too many support heroes that are really good, right? Because in this specific matchup, you are trying to blunt the enemy's playstyle. You're trying to slow the hero style by banning the certain core heroes that build certain items. So I feel like the supports are kind of getting forgotten in a way. But you can't ban them all because there's just way too many of them. So it's much better in my opinion to remove the cores that could allow the whole lineup to work. And they're gonna go for the DK again, which is still like a very, very good hero. Like, and the parry with the SD, I think they brought this up before with the Disseminate with the DK. Before the DK goes in, you put it on the DK. DK is just gonna be doing a lot of AoE spread damage in a team fight.
I think this is a good DK pick. You could argue that they lost with it last game and that it didn't look so good in some of the fights, but that was because he was being doomed. I think without the Doom, Quinn was looking extremely good on the DK. He won the lane, he was doing a lot of damage in the fights when he wasn't getting doomed. And it's a good counter it's a good hero against the Visage. You have very high armor, Visage has the birds with small instances of damage. And I think they probably picked it knowing that the Visage or the Enigma, 2 summons heroes, are likely to come out for 33.
Yeah, the 2 best supports in the game right now for me are probably Naga and Tusk. So not surprised to pick up Tusk here. You just kind of have to weigh what you want to pick for 33 here. He has this hero pool. They know what they want to pick from. This is classic Liquid. Whether it's the best Visage game or not, well, it's on his hero pool what he's going to play, and they're going to pick it from. Mickey's the same story. Whether it's the best, Wind Ranger game or not, he's still going to play it. Maybe in those last couple picks, Nisha gets a little bit of flexibility. I do like the DK a lot too, but however, I want to see it to be defaulted to carry, not to any other position, because we kind of saw in that last game, the DK didn't do much damage, and that's just kind of like the problem with the DK mid. You don't scale into the point where you're a big threat, but when you do play it in the carry position, you focus on getting like these Daedalus and you're getting the farm. This hero's, when it looks the best, looks really good versus the Visage too, just because you'll have all that AoE damage that can deal with it.
But in the previous game, I also kind of felt like his build was also not really allowing him to do damage. Right after the Mage Slayer, he went like Hurricane Pike. He didn't really go for any like direct DPS items like we normally see in carry DK, and like go Armlet into SNY.
It's not a typical build from the mid DK, that's why. I never see the mid DK go for the armlet first. They always go for the Blink Dagger, and last game we went for the Mage Slayer just to deal with Katrina Payne's damage. So just completely different here, but it is open. I feel like it could have worked last game. He did do well in the mid lane. He made some good rotations on the Dragonite as well. And now this DK will either be the carry or the mid, because Primal is almost always on Ace, if not always on Ace. So that's a pretty decent pickup for him as well. Buys a Blade Mill, it can interrupt the Wind Ranger when she presses BKB and goes in with the Whirlwind. Clockwork is the secondary support they're going to pick up. Very similar to what Tuss does, so they're both their side laners. They're going to do that range plus melee combination.
I mean, the clock is, I think, mostly a response to the Primal. One of the better counters against Primal.